Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the extra time segment for Everton 0, Tottenham 0. Everton finally end the run of defeat with a goalless draw, and it restored a bit of hope to the supporters after a couple of really poor performances. I'm joined by Alex McMoney's. We're going to be dissecting the game. There's a fair few talking points for us to get through as well. We'll get straight into it. Alex, what's your take on the draw we got yesterday?
As you say, yeah, I mean, not the most inspiring thing ever, a 0-0 draw, but I think, there are a lot more positives today, more from the game, actually, to take. And, I thought, we had a lot more defensively assured. I thought Godfrey and Keane particularly impressed, and centre-back pairing and that, and, almost making up for the absence of Yerry Mina, who, has been a big miss for the last few games and that, but thought we coped better without him in this game. And I thought Spurs, apart from that chance right at the end when he hit the post, I thought I was never really too worried about. We never looked under too much threat. And I thought defensively in particular, a lot of improvements.
Definitely, it was a much more Rafa Benitez style performance. That I think what was really starting to concern me about Rafa Benitez's tenure here is that we weren't seeing enough of the defensive solidity that he was famed for in recent weeks, and I think this was a bit of a return to that, and it was good to see. But yeah, it was really good to see. Like you say, I think it was a lot more rigid and a bit more. It was a more aggressive performance, certainly, than the sort of very sort of tepid displays we saw against Watford and Wolves. It was, like I say, more Rafa Benitez style, definitely, but also more Everton style. It's what we as Everton supporters who are, who, especially fans in the stadium, want to see that and want to, they respond to that. I think you saw that the atmosphere was markedly better yesterday in terms of, like, the fans sort of got up and got behind what they were seeing a bit more, even though we didn't get the result we wanted.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've kind of realised that there's not many playmakers in this team. There's not many players that I think have a lot of technique and creative wise. But I thought there was a lot more grit and a lot more pluck from the game. And someone it's mad to think, but Fabian Delph coming in and pretty much running things in midfield almost with quite a strong defensive display. Going back to say really Everton dogs of war, things like that. And I thought quite erratic at times, but especially in the first half, and I thought we were really effective with it, to be honest. I think we surprised Conte in his first game, of course. So.
Yeah, I think what I liked about it is I think regardless of how well we're playing it, the game is quite pacey and quite frenetic. I think the fans will be on the edge of the seats, and then you'll see a response in terms of a much more lively atmosphere in the stadium, and that of course sort of comes back onto the players then, and you get the fans and the players pushing in the same direction, and that's when Everton at Goodison is at its best.
Yeah, exactly that. I think the results haven't been great the last few games. I think a big frustration for a lot of people has been the atmosphere in Goodison. Since fans have come back, and it's been a bit flat at times. But I thought, Sunday we really saw the best of it, and again, back to its best. So that was good as well.
Yeah, I think fans need to fans need to get behind the team, yes, but fans need to see something they can get behind.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think if the fans don't see anything coming from the team, and it looks like they don't know where the next goal's coming from, why would they be on the feet in the first place? I think people need to realise that the fans do go to support the team, and they want to support the team, but they need to see something worthy of support, and that the players are supporting the Everton shirt. I think that's it's a bit of a mutual thing, and once one starts going well, the other sort of falls into place. And everyone says it's a bit like the chicken and the egg, who goes first. But I think it doesn't really matter who goes first as long as somebody does. And yesterday it did. I think it started with the players, and I think in most cases it should. The players should represent the shirt with pride, and we saw much more pride in that performance than we did in previous ones. And the fans, of course, responded to that, and we were desperately unlucky, I think, not to have won that game.
Yeah, I think if any team was going to win it, I think it would have been us. I don't think we created anything too clear cut, but I think we had the better of the chances. And I thought, like, especially in the second half, if any team looked like they were going to score, it was definitely us. And I think, yeah, Goodison definitely helped at that.
Oh, definitely. And I think when I'm referring to obviously being desperately unlucky not to have won the game, I'm referring to an incident which we will touch on in more detail now. The penalty with, of course, Richarlison. But I say penalty because it was a penalty. Uh, I think there was enough contact to warrant the penalty. And obviously, the referee believed that in the first place until John Moss decided otherwise for whatever, like, half-witted reason. But also, of course, the issue of the referee not giving the advantage enough to, see if Richarlison could create something else after, the rebound. We didn't really get we basically got put into a lose-lose situation there. Like, we didn't come out with either of the, possibility. We could have had a penalty. We could have had a goal from open play. Regardless, we got neither. And we should have, at least had one or the other, or at least a chance to miss that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was handled very poorly. I thought. I mean, I was watching it back. Like I'll admit, it was a hard decision to make. I think even now looking at the replays, I can see an argument for kind of both sides. Really, it is quite hard to see who. I think it's all about who gets to that ball first. And one angle it looks like the Reece, and another angle it can look like the Richarlison, depending on which way you look at it. So I see it that's difficult, but the ruling's meant to be a clear and obvious error, and I think that's as far away from being as clear and obvious as possible. So he should have just stuck with his original decision.
If the referee gave whatever decision the referee gave should have stood, whether that was penalty, no penalty, it should have stood because, like you say, it was not a clear and obvious mistake in either direction.
Yeah, definitely that. We always seem to get it badly with Spurs. I remember a few years ago with the Dele Alli handball as well. It wasn't given in the end. Like after a few minutes of stuff like that. Yeah, just
I think there's plenty of discussions at the moment about, like, there does seem to be an element of refereeing bias going on. Certain decisions being given to fit certain agendas. A lot of people would have believed that it was, in this case yesterday, maybe not necessarily against us, but certainly to ensure Conte didn't lose his first league game with Spurs.
Yeah, it's worth considering. I think it is quite likely that, say, if this had been at Old Trafford and it was United who had that penalty claim, I think that would have been very unlikely that VAR would have been like so adamant in their ear. Oh, go and look at it, like John Moss seemed to be with Chris Gavin. So I think that's definitely a point worth considering.
I think it certainly is, and we see this over the course of the season. Do our players need to stand up and be counted a bit more in these situations? They need to get in the ref's face a bit more. It's not what we like to see, but other teams do it, and other teams get more favourable decisions than we certainly do.
Well, to be fair, I actually thought Alan was furious when the decision was overturned, and he was very much, like you say, in the ref's face, saying, "Well, that's just ridiculous," and was. So I don't know. We do just seem powerless in that situation. It is just one of those things that's just going to go against us every now and then because we're Everton.
Yeah, I think we need to change that. I think we need to be a bit more aggressive when it comes to these situations. I think Alan, like you say, was a good example of what we need to be doing. I think it's not what we want to see in football in general, but it does seem to deliver results for teams who do that. And I think if we were more persistent with that kind of attitude, I think we would see results in that respect. Like, I thought more could have been done about the Sergio Romero thing. Yes, Richarlison was a bit dramatic with the going down, but in all honesty, it was probably grounds for a red card there. I think we really should have been making life hell for the referee. I think the fans did their level best to make their feelings clear, but I think as players we should be pressuring the referee a bit more. I think it's not nice, but it's definitely something that the rest of the league seem to do better than we do, and I think it does sort of sway referees in the long term across a 90 minutes. It might sort of make things a bit more, it might just make the referee second guess a little bit more when they're trying to give a decision against us.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always been a bit of a thing that Everton, they're too nice. We've always been like, I think, frustrate fans about how nice we are and stuff. But Charleston one, I don't know. That was a weird one. Like you say, definitely milked by the Charleston, but different situation, different players. You never know. Decision might have been different.
Absolutely. I think Richarlison gets a very bad rep. I think
Definitely.
incredibly harshly treated by referees. The penalty again, another example of that maybe, but once he actually got given it, and then it was overturned. I think really, you see how honest he was there. He got back up and tried to keep on going.
Mm.
I think that there's a very, very bad agenda against Richarlison. I think a lot of it in the media maybe, but certainly amongst the PL referees, I think that there's certainly a harsh treatment of Richarlison, probably as harsh as pretty much anybody in the league, I'd say.
And yeah, I think it's almost encouraged by media. I know Carragher in particular is very adamant on
He's
it. And it's
obsessed
like,
with it. Carragher, I don't think he
yeah,
really to wind that in.
and I think it's really like irresponsible because you go against like, I don't want to lump them all in, but teams like Burnley and I think Southampton, I notice it a lot as well. He gets lumps kicked out of him, and like they strategically like set it up where like it's
Charlison
never
was
the
out.
same player.
We've missed Richarlison for a month because of something a Burnley player did to him.
Exactly.
And that's lapped up by the media. Like you say, the media sort of pay for that.
Yeah, and if you lead some sort of agenda that Richarlison he goes down too easily and he dies and stuff, then players will get away with kicking him more and not get punished for it, and not even get free kicks given against it. Like you say, that Tarkowski tackle wasn't even given as a foul, and it put him out for like what, a month. So yeah,
Precisely.
it's really irresponsible, I think.
And I think, I'm not sure if what sort of place, the manager does press conferences. Is that a good opportunity for him to maybe address these kinds of things? Because I know the predecessor, obviously Carlo Ancelotti, was very sort of open with his sort of trying to address the agenda that was often being sort of laid out against us. I think Carlo certainly attacked that head on in his press conferences, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Like, he just had a ballsy approach to it, just like say it how it is, because he's Carlo Ancelotti. But yeah, I think Benitez, same sort of stature, same sort of thing that I think, he's
Benitez
been
wasn't,
outspoken in the past before.
Benitez of all people, everyone remembers what he did at Liverpool with his press conference about the facts. I think
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it's maybe time for him to have one of those in an Everton press box.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really want the wheels to fall off like it did for Liverpool with that, but yeah, I definitely get the sentiment.
Wheels haven't come on yet, Nick, so we might as well try and put the wheels back on in
Yeah.
that respect. But
Yeah.
we'll see how we get on anyway. I think it's obviously a step in the right direction to get this. It's not the worst result. Would have liked to have won the home game, obviously, but to be back, just have stopped that rot almost is the most important thing about this game, and we did that at like a much improved performance. You mentioned earlier on Fabian Delph. We'll go into a bit more depth about that because he has a bit of the last sort of like game and a half. He's had a little bit of a renaissance, hasn't he? Sort of. I don't know where that sort of came from because it's the last thing I was expecting when I saw him come on at half time against Wolves.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember he was brought off on like the hour mark, and he got a standing ovation from Goodison. And like you like tell me that's going to happen a week ago, and I'd laugh in your face, just like no chance. Where on earth's that going to come from? But yeah, he's completely deserved. He's completely earned it, and don't know where it's come from. I think the fact he came off that early suggests he's still not probably back to full fitness yet, or it might also have been to do with the yellow card. I'm not sure, but yeah, really impressive and really had us ticking on Sunday. So yeah, really pleasing to see, and hopefully it continues.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's probably coming at a very good time. Hopefully, Decore he'll be back soon, but we've still got a couple more games without him, maybe. So it's good to at least have a bit of solidity back in that middle of the park. And the other standout performer, maybe, what about Anthony Gordon? He's been sort of slowly, he's been going sort of by the wayside a little bit because of the performances being so poor. But I think we got to see he got a bit more positive attention because of the better performance. It was another decent performance for Gordon.
Yeah, finally got 90 minutes out of him. I think that might be the first ever 90 minutes he's done for us. I think actually I saw him post about that. Yeah, first 90 minutes he's done for us. Obviously, it's been frustrating the last few games where he's been one of the few positives, and yet he's not been given the full game for whatever reason. Don't know, like I say, still young, protecting or whatever. But yeah, mixed in with like a Wobie and that, who's really obviously been frustrating in his performances as ever. But finally got 90 minutes and was once again a real highlight for us. So yeah, like that's it's getting better every week. He'll get his goal soon enough. That'll come soon enough, and I think that'll really help him kick on and hopefully become one of our key players.
Yeah, we'd like to think so, because I think it'd be nice to see another one of our academy players. We haven't seen enough of those in recent years. I think Tom Davis was probably the only one to have come through the academy and sort of stayed the distance in the first team, and even he's one of the more debatable names on the team sheet. So it's good. It's good that we've got another one to sort of keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. Like fans love a local boy, and everything off the pitch again seems great. Just like with Davis, Gordon's got really good attitude on him and that, and definitely tries his hardest, and he's at the moment definitely showing the ability to back it all up as well. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of, obviously, a couple of decent performances. Damari Gray's one of his more anonymous games, but he still delivered a few good moments. Same with Andros Townsend, I think pretty solid, nothing special, but did a decent job. The Richarlison led the line really well, I thought. It was a breath of fresh air after seeing Ron on for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Richarlison, I thought, was much better, probably best performance since first game of the season against Southampton. I thought, like you say, didn't pull any trees up, but should have won a penalty, as we've discussed. And I thought I say hold up play and stuff was impressive, and like good runs and that. And just touching on Gray as well, like you say, even though not as much impact as he was having towards the start of the season, but he still definitely looks our most dangerous player whenever he gets the ball, and really threatening, and still, I think, really impressive for us.
Yeah, I think it was a generally well-rounded performance. The whole team obviously looked better. Dean looked better. Michael Keane looked a bit better. I think the only sort of player who did let the side down was obviously Nathan Holgate, who came on in a bit of a bizarre substitution anyway, to see him come on in midfield. But he was quite erratic, gave the ball away a few times, and then obviously the red cards. What was your take on the red cards?
I mean, I completely agree about everything else. I thought it was an odd substitution, and I did think he was poor when he came off. But I just can't have any complaints with the red card, because I think it was a ridiculous decision. I don't see it. I've watched it so many times back. I've seen it compared to the Cresswell one that was similar in the Liverpool game afterwards, and I just don't see it. I don't see what else he's meant to do. Wins the ball cleanly. And I don't think it's dangerous or out of control or anything. I think it's just...
Is he a bit over-aggressive? But I think that's the thing. We as fans sort of crave that. I think it's a tough one, because in this day and age, it probably does get you a red card, but it's what we as Everton fans in particular we're desperate to see players smash into tackles like that.
I'm not even sure, but that's what I think. I don't think it really was, because I think it was a ball he was clearly going to get to. I mean, I can maybe see the stupid arguments of it. It's an odd technique on a tackle. He really does like fly into it, and like Højbjerg doesn't go for it because Holgate's clearly getting there first. It's nowhere near him, but because Holgate flies through so much, he manages to catch him. So it was an odd sort of technique on the tackle, and I don't think he had the intention of going for him at all. I think it was just a bit of a what, like, I don't know. It is an odd one, but I still think it was the wrong decision, and I thought it was frustrating.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a tough one, but I think for the most part that was probably one of the main negatives in this game for us, obviously barring the refereeing decision for the penalty and whatnot. But it was generally a positive performance across the board. And after the couple of weeks we've had, it was a bit of a sigh of relief I think we all breathed when the final whistle went. We got a point on the board, which is sad to say, of course, but just to have sort of stopped that rot, like I say, and just to sort of be able to look upwards a bit more and feel like we're getting a few players back, we're performing slightly better, and not an easy game next. Of course, we've got City up next, but after that, there's maybe some more. We've got the derby as well, but I think the more we get players back, the more of a fighting chance we've got, even in the tougher fixtures.
Yeah, I think it was an indication that we're not at panic stations quite yet. It's not all doom and gloom. There's still fight in the team, and like get them on the right day, and we'll be able to still get enough results this season to hopefully get a decent enough position. Because I know, especially after Wolves, people were starting to panic a little bit after that first half about just how bad this season
I was one of them, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we're out of the woods just yet, by the way. I think we've still got a lot to do. We need to ensure we sort of use this Spurs performance as the sort of baseline, and ensure that that's the bare minimum that we save up for our fans. And if they can do that, then we'll be fine, absolutely fine. But like I say, tough games: City, Liverpool coming up, Arsenal as well. We were doing quite well. Got to, we've got to try and like perform as well as we can, and that's as certainly as the bare minimum, like I say, against Spurs, to try and get a decent result out of some of those games. But and after that, hopefully, maybe try and regroup with the players that we need back and try and get some wins together there. But it's still gonna be a very tough month, regardless of the improvement there. We've still, like I said, I don't think we can start like getting too carried away that we're sort of back on track after this. We've stopped the rot, but that needs to that solidity needs to remain, and we need to keep grinding. I think it's going to be a case of grinding ugly results out this month if we can, and that'll be a success in the month of November, I think. And then hopefully, by Christmas, we might have a full squad to work with to some extent.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Yeah, just it was important, like you say, stopping the rot, because we've got even more difficult fixtures coming up. So it was important just to get just anything out of the game, which we did. And I think, yeah, exactly that. That needs to be where the foundations are laid, and then, like I say, bare minimum like that, and then anything upon that, like a bit more creative element to it, will just be an improvement, I guess. So yeah, moving in the right direction. But again, let's hope so anyway.
Let's not speak too soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
You can always, I think I'm always one of those. I'm always very conscious of what I say too soon when it comes to Everton. Anything you say will usually come back and bite you on the backside. You know how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
For now, let's just sort of, like I say, breathe that sigh of relief that just off the runners' feet. We put in a decent performance that we as Everton fans can be a lot more proud of, and an acceptable performance. So yeah, I think that's certainly the thing to take away from this, and we're going to need that, because, like I say, City after the international break is what's up next. We hopefully have some better players back, and we might still have a fighting chance there. But I still don't fancy us, obviously, but. Just to have a bit more fight and a bit more pride. That's the bare minimum you need as Everton supporters from your team, and we got that yesterday, and we can be pleased with that. Yeah. So we're just going to finish up. We've got, of course, we put out a tweet on the Toffee Blues Twitter earlier today, asking your thoughts on the game. I was going to go through a few of the comments as we come towards a close here. I'm going to go with a couple here. We've got Louis Crawford. So yeah, we've got Alan played unwell. He didn't believe Alan had a particularly good game. I don't know what your take is on that one, Alex.
I didn't think Alan was that bad. I thought, like I said, I think that centre mid pairing was solid enough, and I think they did enough. But yeah, I think the fact he was brought off towards the end, especially being replaced by Holgate, I think definitely indicated that maybe he wasn't at full fitness. So.
Well, yeah, actually, I'm gonna get actually looking into a bit deeper into that. I think Louis actually getting a. He played whilst unwell. He actually had like a cold or something, I think.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw that speculated. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, just if he wasn't at full fitness, that might explain why he wasn't as influential as he maybe has been at other parts of the season. So
Jordan Carroll, one of our contributors, of course, he said Alan and Delph played well together. Surprised both came off, but it must be fitness with Delph. So obviously, Alan, we just spoke about. He said, "But personally, never play Holgate central midfields. He doesn't think he's a player with good distribution at all." I don't think anyone can argue with that. I've never seen enough technical ability in Mason Holgate to say that he can stroke the ball around the midfield. Certainly no Andrea Pirlo, is he?
yeah, yeah, it was a bit wild when he came on, but it has got to be considered that the fact that he was chosen over Gbamin to play in an unnatural position. So I think that says a lot more about Gbamin than it does about Holgate, unfortunately. So
Yeah, I think it's a shame, but that's it's just one of those. I think Gabamin's not exactly been blessed with luck, but he hasn't helped himself either. His performances haven't been great, and his off the field behaviour's not been great either. But you know, we didn't really see him. We didn't see him yesterday. We got the results. It's about using what we've got to best get a result. And Benitez, whatever you think, probably did as well as he could there, barring maybe the Holgate sub. I think he done as well as he possibly could.
yeah, I think touching back on the Allen thing again, I guess his hands were tied. If he didn't believe Allen was well enough to complete 90 minutes, he had to make a change, and he had a choice to make between Holgate and Gbamin, which isn't exactly the easiest choice in the world to make. A bit screwed no matter which one you pick, really, are you? So it's just one of them decisions. You could argue he got it right, could argue he got it wrong. Well, in hindsight, he got it wrong, but yeah, just one of them, innit?
Certainly is. Cal Snell, another one of our contributors, he says, I highlighted here how much we're missing DCL and Decore. Plays well for the most part, but could easily have picked up 3 points against that Spurs side if we had more creativity and end product. On a side note, the referee was piss poor. Is a very accurate depiction of what unfolded, really. I think we would have been too, regardless of we were the better team. Like you say, we didn't really create enough. Still lacking that personnel. Like you even said, I think we're lacking a few playmakers, really. We probably need a bit more technical ability in that midfield, but I was still relatively happy with what I saw. I think the big peeve for everybody was the refereeing display. In on what we saw there, I think pretty much every big decision went against us there, and on a day where even one of those goes our way, we might win a game.
Yeah, I think we touched upon that like on another day we could have nicked that. Like didn't create anything too clear cut, but you just need one of those little half chances to have a bit more luck involved, and you get that. And I think like on the Calvert-Lewin thing as well, of course. Like I think one of the better performances from Luca Digne so far this season as well. And there was one or two really good deliveries in, and you just think just have that natural striker in there to get on the end of them, and it's just going to be a goal every day. So yeah, we will be so much better off once we get Calvert-Lewin back in particular, I think.
Absolutely. And finally, JJ03, much better performance, but the final third needs to be better. Del finally playing well, Godfrey playing well, and Gordon playing 90 minutes is a massive milestone in his development, becoming a regular for the remainder of the season. I think it is. I think sometimes we see these performances, and it's a really good thing for him to touch on there. He mentions, of course, just discussed the final third needs to improve, and hopefully it will when Calvert-Lewin is back. But a really good point there about Anthony Gordon getting the full 90 minutes and a more regular appearances in the first team. Too often, I think in the past we mentioned about our youth development. Not often enough have we've seen players come into the first team from the academy, get a couple of games, get dropped, and then we never see them again. And the career both at Everton and in general seems to fizzle out. So it's nice to see Anthony Gordon. Like, it looks as though the manager's really persistent with Anthony Gordon, and he's going to be, like JJ says, a permanent fixture for the rest of the season in the first team. We need to see that, and also I think that'll be a morale boost for anyone currently playing in the under-21 to, potentially sees that there is a pathway to the first team where they can break in and stay there, because we haven't seen enough of that, like I say, since Tom Davis did it 5 years ago, and we haven't really seen it since until Gordon's done it now.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, he's not keeping anyone big out of the side by getting regular football. So there's no reason not to persist with him and just get more first team minutes in him, and because all that will do is just get him to improve. And like you say, yeah, under 23s has undergone a lot of development now, and it's a much younger batch of players, which gives them a lot more time to grow, and fingers crossed, a lot more chance for more youngsters to come through like Anthony Gordon. So yeah, positive in that aspect, I think.
And with that in mind, obviously, Gordon's now sort of made himself a first team squad member. Can we expect to hopefully see a few more of the younger lads making a breakthrough? We've seen a little bit of Dobbin already this season, a bit more of him to hopefully come. Onyango as well, back from injury, got a little run out last year. I'd hopefully like to see a bit more of him used in the midfield as well. I think it'd be nice to see a good 2 or 3 more young lads be blooded in the first team between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. It would be good to see, because, I mean, the performances haven't been great this season, but as I say, it's still they're in a bit of a transitional period at the moment, and Younger's just come back, and performances and results in particular are starting to pick up a bit more now. And I think on Younger in particular, very impressive centre midfielder now, and you've got Charlie Whittaker, attacker. He's playing very well and stuff. So I think there's a lot more development needed, but they're at such a young age. There's still plenty of time for them to development and to hopefully come through. So Gordon's probably the benchmark at the moment.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind, of course, if a few more of those followed suit by the end of the season. Not the deepest, most quality filled squad that we've ever had. So there's definitely opportunities if players want to seize them, and I'd like to think the manager will give a few more a chance. I think that'd definitely be something that'd give us all something to shout about, regardless of how this season pans out. If we can, get some players for the future and give us, the fans the belief that the future will be brighter.
Yeah, exactly that. Because I think we ourselves are probably in a bit of a transitional period as well at the moment with the lack of spending. I think it's all just about solidity at the moment and just making sure nothing disastrous happens with the new stadium in a few years as well. So yeah, if there's ever a time to focus on youth, it is now. So hopefully that is something we'll see, like you say.
Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens, but we'll leave it at that anyway. Thanks for joining me on the show, Alex. And of course, to you guys, thanks for joining in on the Toffee Blues. Thanks for tuning in. Drop us a comment below. Let us know your opinions on the game and everything we've touched on in this game. How are you feeling about the club? Feel a bit better after that? I don't doubt that it couldn't possibly have been any worse than I was feeling after the Wolves game. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Get your comments in. Give this video a like and subscribe for more content. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching on the Toffee Blues. See you soon.